The crypto market is on the brink of price discovery mode. The total 3 chart is absolutely primed for a move to the upside. It's sat just below critical resistance, and many things are suggesting that it is going to push past this resistance and enter price discovery. We're going to be talking about everything in today's live stream. We're going to be looking at the top altcoins to have in your portfolio. I'm going to be sharing with you my updated list. I'm going to be also talking about my latest buy alert that has done absolutely tremendous gains in a very short period of time for the VIP members, up around 50% in a day. And it looks like it's going to continue going. So if that all sounds interesting, make sure to leave a like, subscribe as well to the channel if you're new. If you want daily crypto content, no BS, just keeping it real, pure honesty, then make sure you are subscribed and get your questions into the chat. So you can see on the screen right now the total 3 chart on the daily. This is the chart of all the cryptos in existence, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is their market cap combined. And what you can see is that it is in a giant cup and handle, perfect cup and handle, which means it's going an awful lot higher, sorry, by the way. And what you can also see is that it is currently testing its all-time highs. So this is critical. This is absolutely critical. This is a level where if we surpass this, we are into confirmed price discovery mode with the altcoin market. And that is an incredibly bullish thing for those who are holding altcoins. If we just zoom in here, you can see exactly the level that we are at. We are exactly at that same level that we rejected at in December 2024. Now let's pull on some of the indicators and just have a little look to see how much room we have to the upside here potentially. So let me get the RSI on here. So what we can see is that the RSI on the daily is far from levels of resistance that it has seen in the past, okay? Far from it. You can see the level that we've usually hit resistance on with the daily RSI. It's usually around, 87 or so on that daily RSI. Currently, we're not even sat at 70 on the daily RSI. So we have a lot of room to go before we start potentially getting overbought. And I personally believe the next stop, the next station that Total 3 is going to be going to is this 1.618, which I have been talking about now for many, many years. Maybe not years, but many, many months, maybe about 6, 7, 8 months. I've been talking about that level of around 1.5 trillion. Okay. And it seems like we are going to hit that exact level. And then after that, you'd be looking at the 2.618, which is just below 2 trillion for the altcoin market. That is an incredibly bullish move. That's a 2x almost from here. And what that means is if you're holding quality altcoins, you're going to make much more than just a 2x. The baseline is a 2x, potentially, right? But if you're holding quality, you'll be making much more than a 2x. And I can assure you that's going to happen to the people who are listening to me because I'm holding the best coins in the entire market, because I've got the best research process in the entire market, and I understand this market better than a lot of people. And that is why my latest buy alert has been absolutely exploding. You can see on the screen currently, I gave the buy signal to the VIP at 28 cents. This thing went on to produce a 62% gain within a matter of 3 days. 3 days. That's all you had to wait. And you're up 62%. And this isn't a micro-cap shitcoin. This is a coin that's on Coinbase, by the way, backed by some big names. All you had to do was follow the buy alert, patiently wait 3 days, and you'd be up 62%. And by the way, I think this coin potentially could go on to do way more than a 10x. I want to give a shout out to Eric Wallen, who mentioned this coin in one of my recent live streams. I was already aware of it, but I didn't know how the chart looked. He brought it to my attention. I checked the chart. I then checked it out in even more depth. And I realized this is genuinely a huge opportunity. Bitcoin dominance has lost the multi-year support level. This level has been in place since 2023, and we have officially lost it now. A weekly close at the current level we are at would facilitate a major move into the altcoin market. That's what it would do, no doubt. And the sideliners right now are angrier than ever. They're more emotional than ever. The people in cash right now don't know what to do. They've been led astray by YouTubers saying that dominance would go into the 70s. And I'm telling you right now, the people who are sat in cash currently, they're going to be pumping our bags very soon. They are going to be the exit liquidity for us. The smart investors who have been buying in the dips for months now, you're going to dump on all these idiots who are in cash, who are going to buy in the pumps. We buy the dips on this channel. We buy low and we sell high. But the vast majority of people in crypto, they do the opposite. They buy high and then they end up selling low. They got it all wrong. The strategy is completely wrong. And right now they are sat in stables still. Even though all the warning signs are there. Cup and handle on total 3. Dominance falling off a cliff. I mean, if you didn't realize it at 66%, I don't blame you, right? Very few people realized at 66% dominance that was the top. I was one of them, but very few people called the top at that point. Very few. In fact, I don't know a single YouTuber that I've seen that called the top at 66%. Almost all of them were calling for the 70s. Some were even calling for the 80s before we see an alt season. I, however, came out and said that 66% was the top, and we would see a significant drawdown on dominance in the coming months, which by its definition is what an altcoin season is. Now, even those guys who miss the 66% level, surely now they realize we're in an alt season. It's very difficult to spot the start of an alt season. This was the beginning. This was the inception of the begin. This is the very beginning of the alt season. This is the confirmation of the alt season. Now, some people are still in disbelief. Some YouTubers out there are still calling for Ethereum to come into the 3000s. Some YouTubers out there are still calling for Ethereum and altcoin, not Ethereum, but altcoins to go to their Bitcoin range lows. They need to go home, some YouTubers are saying. It's not going to happen, guys. Or it will happen, but by the time it happens, you've already missed out on huge gains. Maybe it happens in 6 months. By that point, it's all over, you know? So we noticed the signs on this channel, and I called them out to you, black and white. I said, we're entering an alt season. Many people will be in disbelief, but we're entering an alt season. It's only now we get the full-on confirmation. Now it's unequivocal. Now it's undeniable. Now everyone in their right mind has to admit we're in an alt season because it says we're in an alt season. The alt season index has now officially flashed. So it's now it's confirmed we are in an alt season. If you're denying that, then you're in denial. Now we can talk about the specifics of this alt season. We can discuss whether this is going to be an alt season like 2017, whether it's going to be an alt season like 2021, or whether it's going to be a mini alt season like what we witnessed around the Trump rally. That was a mini alt season. It wasn't the alt season, but it was a mini alt season because that still flashed on the alt season index as an alt season, and dominance had a sustained downtrend, which again would be a way of defining an alt season. So we can debate how much of an alt season this is going to be. Personally, I think it could last a month or two. Some people say it could last 3 or 4 months. I don't think it will last that long personally, but it'll last a month or two. Now, I said it'll last a month or two. That doesn't mean you wait until the end to sell, because by the time it's the end of alt season, altcoins on their USD pairs are actually lower than what they were maybe a few weeks before. I'll show you this with the Bitcoin dominance chart right now. So Bitcoin dominance last bull run actually bottomed out in September 2022. That is when Bitcoin dominance put in its official bottom. Had you waited for that point, had you waited for the end of alt season, had you waited for that point, the bottom, you would be down over 90% on your altcoin bags if you waited for September 2022 on USD values. Now, yes, you outperform Bitcoin, but we want to make money in dollar terms. It's no good outperforming Bitcoin if you lost 90% or 80% on dollar value, right? The main aim is to catch this massive move down. It's not about catching the very bottom. You make money in the middle. So I want to talk a little bit about my latest buy alert, Avantis, which I'm very bullish on. I did about 4 hours research into it the night it came to my attention that the chart looked good. And it ticks all my boxes. This is essentially like Hyperliquid on base plus RWAs. So you can trade gold, you can trade silver, forex, oil, metals. I mean, this is insane. This is really, really insane. It's literally like Hyperliquid on base plus RWAs plus real world assets. Insane, insane project. And we got into it at a great value. It's on Coinbase Exchange. It's backed by some relatively large-sized VCs. The volume is off the charts. $280 million of volume for an 87 mil market cap. Incredible, incredible stuff. And the chart looks primed. The chart looks absolutely primed. Now, I also dropped another buy alert in the VIP, which I'm not going to mention on this live stream. It's pumped a little bit. But I believe in a few days, it will be the next Avantis, and we'll be looking at it, and it'll be up 50, 60, 70, 80% from the buy alert. And then I'll tell you about it. Now, yes, that's not the nicest thing for me to do, right? Is to wait for it to pump and then tell you. If I was nice, I would tell everyone now for free. But I do enough things for free. I talk for an hour every single day about the markets. I answer all your questions for free. Pretty much all of my calls lately have been spot on, maybe 9 out of 10 of them, I would guess. Obviously, I'm wrong here and there. Maybe 1 out of 10 of the time I'm wrong. But I do enough for free. I give a lot of free alpha. Here and there, I'm going to withhold some things for my paid members, who I very much appreciate. So, printed in the markets right now, and it looks like it's really just getting started here. Now, when I say that, I don't want people to be naive and think that we've got another 6 months left of this bull run. We don't, in my opinion. Now, we could pump for 6 months. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't believe we have that long left. Most of my targets remain the same. And I personally believe we've got dominance coming down probably somewhere between 52 and 57%. And I think that's going to happen very quickly. If dominance closes the week where it is right now, it's going to be a bloodbath for dominance. It's going to drop like a fly because it's lost this critical multi-year support. So if it closes where it is now, tomorrow night, which would be the weekly close, you have a guaranteed drop on dominance, essentially, as guaranteed as you can get. So things are looking good. We've got a confirmed altcoin season here. And typically these alt seasons can last anywhere between a few weeks to a few months. A few weeks to a few months they can last. So count yourself lucky. You're in crypto at a great time right now. And if you've been buying in the dips alongside me for months now, you've been buying Aerodrome down at 39 cents. You've been buying Sui below $1 like we got it. Say as low as 15 cents. You're a very, very lucky individual. And we've got a lot of charts right now which are only just breaking out. Say is a perfect example. It's only just broken out. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, am I going to take this Say long? Now, I said I was going to wait for a weekly close before I long it. I might not long it, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. I still think Say is going to pump crazy. I've got 6 figures in Say. I'm not trying to brag here. I'm not trying to boast. but I'm trying to tell you that that's my conviction, right? I've got a nice bag of say. So I'm bullish on it. I'm very bullish on it. And I've got a great spot bag. But it is a solid long opportunity here. Will I enter it? We'll have to wait and see. But there's another chart right now which is looking like it might be a nicer long, and you might get a better entry on it. I'm going to show you that in a moment. But before I do, if you are interested in longing and shorting, sign up to the Blowfin Exchange link down below. I have a special promo available right now. Depending on the amount you deposit, you can get very good rewards. You can get up to $1,000 in rewards if you deposit money and trade on the exchange. So hit that link in the description. I have 2 longs currently open. One on Bitcoin, up 68% on my Bitcoin long, which I told my VIP group about. And a 3x leverage long on Pepe. Not a lot of leverage, but I was mainly doing this to show the group how profitable leverage trading can be. I'm at 42% on my Pepe long on 3x leverage. So obviously I didn't go into these with much weight. Do I wish I put more in? Obviously now looking back, but that's hindsight, right? The main reason I was doing this was to demonstrate to the group how profitable leverage can be if you know what you're doing. Now, I mentioned another long opportunity, which looks like it might have a better entry that we could get. That coin is Casper. And Casper is one of those coins where if you catch it at the right time and you rotate into it at the right time, you could make an astonishing amount of money. We've seen in this crypto market the money flow play out. For those who don't know, typically the money in crypto flows down the ranks. Everything doesn't pump at once. Now, that's kind of a lie. It does in a way, but some things pump more than others, right? And then they take their turns to lead the way. So let me just get this chart up for you guys. So a lot of people have been disputing this lately. A lot of people have been disputing it, but I still think there's a large degree of validity to this money flow chart. I'm not saying it's 100% accurate, but there is still a large degree of validity to it. We start off with fiat, then we go to BTC, then we go to large caps. Okay, large caps would be, you know, ideally something like the top 10, top 20, the Solanas, the Cardanos, etc. Then we go to the mid caps, which would be your Aerodromes, your Caspers maybe, your Morphos. And then we go to the low caps, which would be like your Peak, your Mavia, your Milli, your micro caps, right? Sub 100 million. So this still works in my view to a large degree, but this is oversimplified. This is an oversimplification. It's actually much more in depth than this, and there's way more nuances to it. So what we're probably going to see is first a movement into Ethereum related coins. We're going to see coins like Aerodrome, coins like Morpho. Those types of coins will pump first. The Ethereum related coins will pump first. ETH ecosystem. So what I'm saying is this chart, whilst it's true, it's oversimplified. It doesn't go into the actual specific categories and sectors, such as Ethereum killers, Ethereum ecosystem, meme ecosystem. It doesn't mention any of that. It's just purely based off market cap, but it's more in depth than that, is what I'm trying to say. And what we have most likely here is Ethereum coins are going to move first. Coins related to Ethereum, related to Base, are going to move first. We've already seen that, guys. What was the number one coin pumping in the last few months or last few weeks when Ethereum was moving? It was Aerodrome. Besides Ethereum, it was Aerodrome. Morpho was also pumping a lot. Which coins were pretty stagnant? Alternative layer ones. Sui was pretty stagnant. Casper was pretty stagnant. Coins that were not related to Ethereum were not really pumping in the last couple of months. They were very, very stagnant. And there was a reason for that. It was because Ethereum was stealing the limelight. Ethereum was stealing the show. So first we are seeing the Ethereum coins move. then we will see a rotation. If you can catch this rotational move, you will make so much money. If you can rotate out of something like Aerodrome at the right time into something like Casper or into something like Sui, you can make a lot of money. Now, it's very difficult to execute that, but I think you will see a huge catch-up trade with these alternative layer ones, these layer ones that are not related to Ethereum, that are competitors to Ethereum. And we're already seeing that play out right now with the fact that Solana has been rallying pretty hard. First, Ethereum moved, and then Solana took its position. Next, it will be Sui, and then it will be Sei, and then it will be Casper. It's not that difficult, guys. I mean, I just said it was difficult to execute, but it's not that difficult in theory. Maybe in practice, it's a little bit more difficult, but in theory, it all makes sense. So what I'm saying here is if you can catch this right and rotate into something like Casper, you are going to make a ton of money. And Casper could be a great long. Casper could be a great long after it gets above this macro resistance trend line, this downward sloping, descending trend line. If we can get above this on a weekly close, it's game on for Casper. I'm not exaggerating that in the slightest. If Casper gets above this downward slope and resistance, which currently, if it was to do it this week, would be about 10 cents. If Casper gets above that, it is game on, and I expect all-time highs more or less imminently. The problem is, until it does that, it is still officially in a downtrend. It is still officially not really a good investment, because it could just keep on going sideways, keep on going down, essentially. So what I'm going to say is, yes, have your long-term Casper bag, but if it breaks above this trend line, it is going to be a great potential leverage opportunity. 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, whatever you want. Obviously, you need to know what you're doing. Don't go in blindly, but it's going to be a great opportunity. And if I enter that, I will be informing all of the VIP members in the Discord the moment I do that. And I'll be doing that on the Blowfin exchange, which I currently have a long position open for Pepe, which I'm very fortunate to have got. Let me just show you my thought process for Pepe. There you go. So I shared with you guys on one of the last live streams, maybe like 3 or 4 live streams ago, my thesis on a Pepe long, and it's perfectly come into play, all right? So I showed you this resistance on Pepe, how every single time it's hit it, it is rejected. I said, once it breaks above this resistance, it's a great long. The reason being, it has great structure. It came down to the golden pocket, respected the golden pocket. When you respect the golden pocket and you break a trend line, it's like double confluence. It's all you need. You're going to break out crazy. When you come down, you respect the golden pocket and you break a downward sloping trend line, it is a long. It's screaming out to me, long me, please. That's what it's saying to me. And that's exactly what I did at the point of breakout. And that is why we are seeing some nice profits right now. So where do I think the market's going? A lot of people have been asking me. I think it's going up. Maybe there'll be a little bit of chop next week as we enter the major date of September 17th, where the Fed decides. We already believe they'll be cutting rates by 25 basis points. If they cut by 50, it will be insane. But I, right now, don't believe that is going to happen as a result of the CPI data that we got in, which was slightly hot last week. So they're going to cut 25 basis points, most likely. The real thing that's going to determine the future trajectory is what they say about October, November, October and December. Those are the only 2 times they meet after September. So that's what matters, is what they say about October and December. Is Powell going to be fully entering a cutting cycle, or is this just a mid-cycle adjustment? Or is this just a one-and-done cut in September? Those are the questions that we're going to be answered. We're going to get answered on September 17th. Now, a lot of people have this theory that if they are entering a cutting cycle, that is surely bullish. But I want people to think a little bit deeper about this matter. Is it really bullish if the Fed enter a full-scale cutting cycle, trying to bring the rates down to zero? Is that really bullish? It might sound bullish in theory. Cut rates, more people borrow, more liquidity, less tightening. But in practice, there's a different story. History tells you a different thing. History tells you that when the Fed heavily start cutting, it's already too late. They're seeing something that maybe the market isn't, and it spooks the markets. Because the Fed are usually too late, and if they're seeing something bad, it means it's really bad, and it's already too late. And you're going to have a hard landing. So history tells you that when the Fed enters a full-on cutting cycle, it's usually too late. But the question is, at what point does it become too late? I would say somewhere between the second and the third cut, it's probably going to be the cutoff point. And once they start cutting 50 basis points, back-to-back heavy cuts, bad things are happening. The labor market's in a disaster. So I'm of the belief that the September cut will probably be bullish, or more or less will be guaranteed to be bullish. It already has been leading into it. The October cut might be bullish, but by the time we start getting into December and into 2026, I think there's going to be diminishing returns in terms of the rate cut effects on the markets. And it could start turning sour, especially if they start cutting 50 basis points. That could start spooking the markets if they've already done prior cuts and it's still not working and the labor market data is still weakening. So I'll get into the comments now. Appreciate all of you being in the stream. I know I've gone on a lot, but there's a lot of important information that I wanted to mention. Razi says, I booked a chat with your technical analyst, downloaded the app, no phone call. Could you drop us an email, please? Could you drop us an email? Did you fill out the form and get in contact? Because there's been a lot of people who have been booking the free calls and they haven't been showing up. They haven't been providing the information that's needed for the free call. So how's everyone doing on the stream? Yeah, I think we will see some form of a rally in 2026, probably around halfway point of the year. But we'll have a crash before then. Yeah, Bitcoin maxis have tunnel vision. All maxis do. All maxis think from an emotional standpoint. I have Bitcoin and I have altcoins, so I'm actually not really that biased. The person who's biased is the person who only holds Bitcoin or only holds altcoins. Those are the people with biases. If you hold both, you love both. I love Bitcoin, I love altcoins. It's within my interest for both of them to go up. I don't have any ulterior motive. The people who have ulterior motives are the people who only believe in one of them. The people who only believe in Bitcoin, every chance they get to FUD altcoins, they'll do it. And we've seen that on YouTube in the past few months. Millie is pumping. Well, it had a bit of a dump for some reason. Not sure why. Maybe some whale sold or something, but we can take a look at it. Had a little bit of a dump today for some reason, but this is what happens in microcaps, right? But the overall chart structure, when you zoom out, looks very bullish. This is my number one microcap meme at the moment, like below 10 mil. It's the highest meme coin in market cap on Say. I've showed you the Say chart and said that it looks ready to break out. So if Say breaks out, then I think Millie will do a phenomenal move. It's the ultimate beta play on Say. Can alts run strongly without retail entering the market this cycle? Yes, and many of them already have this cycle without retail. Sui went from 76 cents when I bought in all the way up to above $5 in the period of a couple months. Solana's made a new all-time high. BNB's made a new all-time high. XRP's made a new all-time high. A plethora of the altcoins have already ran without retail. Retail just come in for the very last blow off top. The majority of the moves are done by whales, institutions, VCs, these types of people. And us, right? OGs who've, I mean, we are retail, right? People forget, like, when people talk about retail, it's as if we are not retail. No, we are retail. Retail still exists in crypto, guys. It's just the same as what it was a year ago, really. There hasn't been a big influx of new people. But retail is still here. Just the same retail as a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. A lot of us have been here for a while now. But I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the big influx of new participants to the market. And yeah, we can still see pumps without them. It's just preferable if they come, because it means we get more blow off tops. If you're not in Archie's group, do yourself a favor and get in. Absolutely, man. Great shout. 50 reviews, all 5 stars. Best community in crypto. That's the last review a day ago. That's all you need to see. I joined the big bundle. I had a talk with Archie. I found him honest, and he has a lot of knowledge of the market. He also guided me to fix my portfolio. Looking forward. So you can just go and read some of the reviews yourself. You can just see some of my results. I mean, my last buy alert, secret buy alert, just went on to do crazy gains, 62% in a few days. And that's not a microcap. That's a coin on Coinbase. People need to wake up, man, because we've been winning for years now on this channel. All these coins you're seeing here, I'm up big on. Up huge. And you would be too if you followed the alerts. Join the VIP, you'll make lifetime membership in one trade, no BS. Absolutely, man. Well said. That's the thing. People don't see it as an investment. They think, oh, it's $100+. That's a cost. No, it's an investment. It's going to make you money, most likely. And that's why no one cancels the membership. Like, it's 1 in 100 that someone cancels. And when they do, it's usually, you know, because something's going on at home or, you know, something like that. Okay, we got a little donation here from Omar, AED, so he's Dubai-based or UAE-based as well. How you doing? How much higher do you think alts will go? When do you think we go down? Good question. I think altcoins go to between the 1.618 and 2.618 on total 3. And most likely we'll get there at some point in the next 2 to 6 weeks. But it could be a little bit longer. But the levels are always more important for me personally than the time frames. Everyone wants to put a time frame on it, but I want to put a level on it. It's not when we hit it, it's what price do we hit. And for me, we hit between the 1.618 and the 2.618 on total 3. And I think we can do that at some point in the next few weeks. Yeah, I'd say it's worth joining the VIP, even if you got $100, $200. Obviously, it's more worth it if you've got $1,000, but I still think you'll make potentially some good gains. But it's up to you, man. If you've only got $100 portfolio, then maybe try and get it to $500 and then join the group, or $300 and then join. But I've seen people join with literally $100 and they've ended up turning it into 500. So I'm not exactly going to say no. Thanks for all you do. Do you think there'll be a massive sell-off after the FOMC meeting on Wednesday? There could be a mini sell the news, but I doubt there'll be a massive sell-off. The only thing that would warrant a massive sell-off is if Powell basically says this is a one and done cut, which by all available measures, it seems like it will not be a one and done cut. OTT Biller, $5, thank you, says, is it okay to buy now in the green due to the state of the market or wait for a dip? Depends which coin. If you're buying a coin which has a very high RSI, then I don't recommend it. But if you're buying a coin that's still relatively low, then yeah, it's absolutely fine. So it just depends on the coin. If you're buying Casper, you're still buying it cheap. You look at the RSI, it's still at the center point. So one way, just really, really basic for some of you guys, especially if you're new, one way to know whether a coin is too high to buy is where the RSI is on the daily. If the RSI is in the upper, like above the upper line, like the very upper quartile, then you shouldn't buy a coin. You should avoid it. If the RSI is like at the center or below the center, then that is a sign that, yeah, it's still a reasonable buy. So let's take a quick look at SUI. So SUI's not an amazing buy, but I wouldn't say like it's a terrible buy at this point either. By the way, SUI's looking really good. SUI's looking finally ready to take off, which is great. Came down, hit the golden pocket, and now we're getting a nice bounce. Join Archie's mentor tier in time for the next meeting. Going to be the best one yet. Thank you, man. Yeah, next mentor meeting is going to be amazing. The next mentor meeting that we're doing is going to be entirely on the topic of longing and shorting on trading. We're going to go through scalping, swing trading, bear market trading, everything. Like how you can make money in the bear market when everything crashes by shorting. And I'm going to be going through Blowfin, giving you a bit of a tutorial and explaining my trading strategies going forward. Because as you can see, I got 2 longs open, both in some nice profits. Now, not in terms of the actual dollar value, because I didn't put much in, as I always say, but the percentage gain is very nice. I'm up almost 70% on Bitcoin. I literally just entered it not that long ago. Entered it a couple weeks ago. Yeah, invest in yourself, absolutely. 145 a month is crazy. Don't join then. I personally think it's too cheap. I'm going to be up in the price. There's people who join 145 a month. They make 20 grand in their first month. And you think that's expensive. So I think it's too cheap, but I understand, right? Everyone starts somewhere. If you've only got a portfolio of $100, then it's not ideal for you, maybe. Even though there have been people who had $100 and made a lot of money, if you've only got $100, it's maybe not suited to you. So maybe just make some money on the, following some of the free calls on the channel. And then when you can afford it, join. Yeah, and I understand like some people are in third world countries and they can't afford it and stuff. I do genuinely offer discounts to people if that is the case. But I think the group is too cheap. I want to be very clear about that. Some of the results people tell me, it's off the charts. And I get told by my own customers to increase the price. How often does that happen with a business? Where you get told by your own customers, yeah, this is too cheap. I'm making 20 grand, 50 grand a month, and I'm only paying 140. It should be 300 or 200. How often does that happen with a business? Yeah, dominance has dropped big time, and we called it right at the very top. There's been many members who have told me my best call all cycle in terms of its significance was the dominance call. Because, yeah, I made a 24x on Troll, 50 to 100x on Viot. But they're individual altcoins, right? The best call of the cycle was the top on dominance call because of the significance. Because people pivoted out of Bitcoin at this point into altcoins. I did that. I was pivoting out of Bitcoin into altcoins. And it's paid off tremendously. Yeah, if you have some troubles joining through fiat, then I do offer cryptocurrency payments. All the information is in the description. I think there's an email. You can email me, or you can just get in the Discord. And if you join my Discord, there's a payment portal within the Discord. But remember, I'll never DM you. I'll never DM you asking you to join anything. Yeah, I'm going to be increasing the price. I agree. Also, the reason I have to increase the price is because of the amount of people who join. Because the demand is so high, right? Because it spreads like wildfire. If someone's paying $145 a month and they're making five figures, 6 figures monthly from some of the calls, they tell friends, they tell family, and then they join as well. So I can only have a certain amount of people in the group. I can't have 10,000 people in the group, right? It'd be a nightmare. It'd be too many people. So one of my ways of controlling the quantity of members is by increasing the price. Supply and demand. But yeah, man, markets are looking good. People are printing. Good time to be in crypto, that's for sure. Yeah, it's monthly payments. You can do monthly or you can do yearly or lifetime. It's all linked down below. I should up the price due to tariffs. Oh man, tariffs don't really affect my business. But yeah, I should up it in line with inflation. That's for sure. Is it a good idea to rotate profits into Ethereum? I think the other way around. I think you should be rotating Ethereum profits into altcoins. You're supposed to be going down the money flow chart, not up it. Like, you shouldn't be rotating into ETH and Bitcoin right now. You should be rotating out of Bitcoin into ETH, out of ETH into Sol, out of Sol into Sui. That's kind of the order you want to be going. You don't want to be doing it the other way around. Yeah, obviously he'll say we have to wait until the data. He's not going to say it explicitly, Darcy, but you've got to infer from what he says. Powell will not explicitly say, yeah, we're going to cut 3 times this year. But you've got to infer, you've got to do some inference and see if you can determine what he's saying. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the stream here. I've answered a lot of questions. Hopefully everyone is printing right now. If you've been following the calls, you would be printing to a crazy level right now. And that new VIP gem, by the way, that I haven't disclosed yet, I think is ready to make some big moves. It's looking very good. Chart's looking primed. And yeah, appreciate all of you being here. I'll continue to provide you with daily updates. As long as you continue to support the channel, hit the likes, share the stream, share the videos, all that stuff, I'll continue to deliver every single day of the week valuable content for you guys. Appreciate all of you being here. Make sure you're following me on X as well. Crypto Archie YT, posting daily on there. Different insights. And I look forward to seeing you in the next live stream or video.